All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Just some things. Number one, going to make big progress on the studio this weekend. Again, many of you, if you're a faithful viewer, thanks to these growing so much, I'm reconfiguring my whole office. But I'm in this, not sure if you know what a dormer is, but there's this nook where I've got a desk. But the problem is every morning, it's been a beautiful sunny week here in Michigan, but because of that, it ruins the camera. Anyway, big goals for this weekend to clean that up. Construction and ag, we talked about that yesterday on the daily briefing. Nice to see Deere beat on earnings, beat on revenue. I mean, it's one of those things where it's almost predictable. I mean, you guys, I ranted and ranted about agriculture all week, going back to last week, and then Deere blows out. Well, they didn't blow out earnings, but they beat on earnings. I've talked about construction. Deere is heavy in the construction industry. I mean, yeah, not penny stocks. Deere isn't going to run 100%, but if you want a low risk swing trade, I think it was quote unquote predictable that Deere would have good earnings coming into the construction season, etc. So that being said, let's get to work. Remember, I'll be back at noon for the daily briefing. We'll talk about more of this stuff at noon. MTP, today's low float runner with volume. You probably know what I'm going to say. This sure smells like the chat buy du jour. Again, go back to yesterday. We talked about this at the daily briefing. The chat rooms have just been killing these things lately. So I'm going to tell you, wait for 9:45. Boring, okay? I know you all want to make 10 grand by 10 a.m. and go back to bed. I know that's what you all want, okay? Now, definitely looking for that midday, late day dip and rip. I mean, it is Friday, okay? This is the type of stock that squeezes on a Friday, but I'm just going to beg you to avoid it early just because it smells like, it's, I was about to do a rock impersonation, but my rock impersonation is pretty weak. But it smells like the chat buy of the day, so I say wait for midday, late day. 8:33 MTP smells like the chat buy du jour, so I say wait for midday, late day. You got all day, What are your expectations for Gevo? What are my expectations for Gevo? It is Gevo is deader than dead. Okay, if you were here yesterday at noon, which if you weren't, why weren't you? I talked about high day breaks on Gevo, and Gevo worked. I mean, at that look at the. Gevo was like at 160 at noon, and it kept spiking all day. Now, that you would please don't. I mean, if there's another Gevo, please just don't hold stuff like Gevo overnight. Okay. Listen, I'm not saying the offering was predictable, but I mean that's what Gevo did is what money losing stocks do. I mean, that's what they do. They run it up on a PR and they sell into it. So two things. Stuff like Gevo, two options. You either day trade it or just stay away from it. I mean, I know Gevo was the shiny object of the day. I know everyone was in love with it. I saw a bunch of people crush it on Gevo, okay? But you can also just avoid stuff like that. If it's not your style, but please never, ever hold that overnight. Something like that overnight. NAKD withdrawing a 1 for 15 share. What's this? NAKD has some breaking news. Terrible retail stock. something to watch. Whoops. I don't know why Instagram goes to sleep sometimes. NAKD, breaking news. All right, let me get here. Movie theaters reopening, good time to buy. No, I mean, this is a little bit more of a daily briefing question, okay? But nobody's going back to the movies, man. I mean, here's a tip. You can buy a ridiculous home theater setup for like $1,000. And you don't have to deal with assholes talking behind you. Whoops. I'm supposed to keep this PG. But, again, I mean, just this is more of a daily briefing question, but no. I don't care if the theaters are reopening, short them. So, short all the theaters. SRNE news. God, my stupid Chinese selfie stick. I would look for afternoon breaks of yesterday's highs on SRNE. This is a solid Friday squeeze candidate because this thing, we had the hit piece by Hindenburg Research. Again, totally respect Hindenburg Research. They do great work, okay? And Hindenburg had a hit piece on SRNE, which brought in a lot of early shorts, okay? Then the CFO leaves. Then they do the press release. So SRNE, I mean, these guys, especially with that PR the other day, they're trying to squeeze this stock. So this is a good Friday afternoon candidate if it breaks yesterday's highs. Candidate if it breaks yesterday's highs. Thoughts on BLNK? They had a hit piece too, right? So hit piece on BLNK, right? So red to green on a Friday. And I mean, remember this stock's all these EV plays have been moving with Tesla. Tesla's up this morning. So 8:38 a.m. BLNK hit piece yesterday and nice rebound. Tesla still going, which is keeping EVs hot. Love an afternoon red to green on this, especially after the hit piece. So this is another concept I talk about all the time. We've just seen it repeat and repeat and repeat. People just blindly follow. They blindly follow these hit pieces. And like I said, I'll say it a million times. Nothing but respect for Hindenburg, Citron, okay? But you can't just be like, oh, there's a hit piece, I'm going to short. Because we've seen, especially the last couple years, we've seen so many of these. They work, okay? The hit pieces work, but, it's weeks later. The first few days, usually you got a crazy spike because everyone just blindly follows in on the short side. So anyway, long explanation. What's more breaking news? Pixie relocating to Miami. Pixie. So Pixie super sketch, and they just I love these PRs. This is like my favorite penny stock PR. It's like when they release a PR that they mowed the lawn or they like painted the office. So anyway, sorry, I got distracted. Whoops. Why can't sometimes the EYPT? Whoops. We got a biotech with news. Cash up front. Old news, though. So EYPT has news from yesterday. So old news. Remember, in day trading land, okay, in low float day trading land, okay, 24-hour news, it's old news, okay? Now, we're talking swing trading, we're talking longer term holding, different story. But when you're talking about a piece of junk like EYPT, 24-hour old news is old news. 80 million float, so higher float. What do these guys do? Point Pharma. Delivering innovation to the eye. Ooh, very creative. So it's just I don't care about this. Meh. So I'll leave you that is my summary. My summary of EYPT is meh. I don't care. There's just it's just not good enough, So now if it was like a virus play, if it was like a EV play, etc. Now OPGN. So Z Brockman, I know you. I recognize your username, Z Brockman. Are you gold because you're here a lot? I'm curious. Does Instagram do that? So Z Brockman, I recognize your username, and you're gold. Does that mean you're here a lot? Anyway, I guess I got to Google that. Everyone, please go to yesterday's daily briefing, and like the first half of that, I talked about what happened with OPGN and why you got to be really careful with these chat buys, okay? So if you're curious, if you're like, hey, what happened to OPGN yesterday? Please check out yesterday's daily briefing, the noon session. And I'll tell you this, that's my concern with MTP today. BBQ is up. Is BBQ actually up? Oh, it's an earnings winner. Or no. That was a week ago. So, dang it! Cogswell. So, no volume. And, man, it had a nice day yesterday. But not enough volume. I was hoping BBQ was going to be the dip and rip of the day. Not enough volume. You tricked me. I'll finish on RKT. Let's take a look at RKT. Nice rebound for RKT. VWAP hold buy into the afternoon. Man. Would love this to close above VWAP for a possible swing trade. You guys know, I think this was I'm a big fan of Dan Gilbert, okay? Google Dan Gilbert, Detroit. I mean, I know a lot of you guys know I'm from Michigan. Dan Gilbert's done some amazing stuff for downtown Detroit. I think this was a very well-timed IPO with mortgage rates at ridiculously low rates. So, oh man, if this is above VWAP, it's on the weekend watch list for sure. For sure, top swing idea over VWAP into the afternoon. All right, guys. Speaking of the afternoon, I will be here. I'll be back at noon, Good stuff this morning. As always, I know I don't get to, I miss 1,000 questions. Please keep asking the questions. I get to as many as I can. Love this. We keep growing every day. And as always, thanks. So check out the Steady Trade team if you want more. And we'll see you at noon. So